Welcome back, my darlings. So good to see you. Today we are in a different part of my place. This is my little library, and I have some wonderful stories I'd like to share with you today. They come from the Brothers Grimm fairy tale collection. I haven't read these stories since I was a little girl. I was obsessed with books in middle school, and I often thought that they were so strange and so peculiar, these stories of old. They were from a different time, mind you, so sometimes you'll find verses repeating and some outdated ideology. And I had two books that I really treasured when I was younger. It was this one, the Grimm's fairy tales, that I read myself to sleep every night for a while. And the other one was the Tales of Arabian Nights. My mother used to tell me those stories when I was little. And while you may not know this, I'm actually half Palestinian. I'm not Arabian or Iranian, so unfortunately, much of the culture was lost on me except for the food. My family's very good at cooking. She would sometimes recount some of those tales to me, like tales from Bali, tales from the Book of Arabian Nights, and I often thought how wonderful it was, that kind of culture. But I actually started reading the tale of Shahrazadeh. I started reading the first tale because it was 21 of the best collected books, or stories, 21 of the best collected stories for the Tales of Arabian Nights, and they're very racist. I'm so glad I didn't start reading this in front of a live camera. Yikes! But I am enjoying them in my own time. That's not the point today. I'm just going to slip that back right there where she'll sit. Today I want to read you a story from this book right here. We're going to go with something familiar to us all before I start going into other little tales. I would like to read you the story of Little Red Riding Hood. So, if you're willing to listen, stay a while with me in my lovely little book collection, I will happily tell you a story that can send you right off to sleep. So, Little Red Cap. Once upon a time, there was a dear little girl who was loved by everyone who looked at her, but most of all by her grandmother. And there was nothing that she would have not given to the child. Once she gave her a little cap of red velvet which suited her so well that she would never wear anything else, so she was always called Little Red Cap. One day, her mother said to her, "Come, Little Red Cap, here's a piece of cake, and here's a bottle of wine. Take them to your grandmother. She is ill and weak, and they will do her good." Cake and wine do me good when I'm sick. Set out before it gets hot, and when you are going, walk nicely and quietly. Do not run off the path, or you may fall and break the bottle, and then your grandmother will get nothing. And when you go into her room, don't forget to say good morning, and don't peep into every corner before you do it. "I will take care," said Little Red Cap to her mother, and gave her hand on it. The grandmother lived outside in the wood, half a league from the village, and just as Little Red Cap entered the wood, a wolf met her. Little Red Cap did not know what a wicked creature he was, and was not afraid of him. "Good day, Little Red Cap," said he. "Thank you kindly, Wolf. Where do you go so early, Little Red Cap?" "To my grandmother's." What have you got on your apron?"
"Cake and wine. Yesterday was baking day, so poor sick grandmother is to have something good to make her stronger."
"Where does your grandmother live, Little Red Cap?"
"A good quarter league farther out into the woods. Her house stands on 3 large oak trees. The nut trees are just below. You surely must know it," replied Little Red Cap.
The wolf thought to himself, "What a tender young creature. What a nice plump mouthful. She will be better to eat than the old woman. I must act craftily so as to catch both." So he walked for a short time by the side of Little Red Cap, and then he said, "See, Little Red Cap, how pretty about the flowers are here. Why do you not look around? I believe, too, you do not hear how sweetly the little birds sing. You walk gravely along as if you were going to school, while everything else out here in the woods is merry." Little Red Cap raised her eyes, and when she saw the sunbeams dancing here and there throughout the trees, and the pretty flowers growing everywhere, she thought, "I suppose, take grandmother a fresh nosegay." What? What's a nosegay? "That would please her too. It is so early in the day that I shall get there in good time." And so she ran from the path into the woods to look for flowers. And whenever she had picked one, she fancied that which she saw a prettier one farther on, and ran after that. And so deeper and deeper went she into the woods. "Ooh, piece of candy! Ooh, piece of candy!" Meanwhile, the wolf ran straight to the grandmother's house and knocked at the door. Getting my grandmother voice ready.
"Who's there?"
"Little Red Cap," replied the wolf. "She is bringing cake and wine. Open the door."
"Lift the latch," called out the grandmother. "I'm too weak and cannot get up."
The wolf lifted the latch and the door flew open. Without saying a word, he went straight for the grandmother's bed and devoured her. Just like that. That's what I call fast food. Then he put on her clothes, dressed himself in her cap, and laid himself in bed and drew the curtains. Little Red Cap, however, had been running about picking the flowers. A strange sound. Little Red Cap, however, had been running about picking the flowers, and when she had gathered so many she could carry no more, she remembered her grandmother and set out on the way to her. She was surprised. She was surprised to find the cottage door standing open, and when she went into the room, she had such a strange feeling that she said to herself, "Oh dear, how uneasy I feel today, and at other times I like being with grandmother so much." She called out, "Good morning," but received no answer. So she went to the bed and drew back the curtains. There lay her grandmother with her cap pulled far over her face, looking very strange. "Oh, grandmother," she said, "what big ears you have. The better to hear you with, my child," she replied. "But grandmother, what big eyes you have," she said. "The better to see you with, my dear." "But grandmother, what large hands you have." "Oh, the better to hug you with." "Oh, but grandmother, what a terrible big mouth you have." "The better to eat you with." And scarcely had the wolf said this that with one bound he was out of the bed, swallowing Little Red Cap. When the wolf had appeased his appetite, he lay down in the bed, fell asleep, and began to snore very loud. The hunter was just passing the house and thought to himself, "How the old woman is snoring. I must see if she wants anything." So he went into the room, and when he came to the bed, he saw there was a wolf laying in it. "Do I find you here, old sinner?" said he. "I have long sought you." They know each other? Then, just as he was going to fire at him, "He's got a gun?" It occurred to him that the wolf might have devoured the grandmother and that she still might be saved. So he did not fire, but took a pair of scissors and began to cut open the stomach of the sleeping wolf. When he had made 2 snips, he saw a little red cap shining, and he made 2 snips more, and the girl sprang out, crying, "Ah, how frightened I have been!" How dark it was inside the wolf, and after that the aged grandmother came out alive also, but scarcely able to breathe. Redcap, however, quickly fetched great stones with which they filled the wolf's body, and when he awoke... And when he awoke, he wanted to run away, but the stones were so heavy that he fell down at once and fell dead. Wait a minute. I thought they just cut his stomach open. What? Wait. That makes no sense. Then all 3 were delighted. The hunter drew off the wolf's skin and went home with it, and the grandmother ate the cake and drank the wine which Redcap had brought, and revived. Me too, sister. Me too. But Redcap thought to herself, as long as I live, I will never by myself leave the path to run into the wood when my mother has forbidden me to do so. Because that is the moral of the story here. Don't stray off the path, or else your grandmother might not have got you. Girl, there was nothing you could do. This is a big old wolf hit your dang grandmother, and the only way you kill them won't by a pair of scissors or a hatchet or apparently a gun, because the hunter had a gun. What? Headshot. Headshot. That's how you do it. Man, you cut open the stomach, and that didn't kill him. Nah. The stones did. Because he fell on the ground. He fell on the ground and died. So I now realize the exact kind of stories I'm about to tell you, and it seems I've made a horrible mistake. This is not ASMR art. This is hardly story time. This is what kind of bull can we conceive out of these books. So stay tuned. Thank you for joining me today. I have quite the stories in store for you. If you like what you heard tonight, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will go ahead and take some recommendations for some more stories. Or maybe you have some of your own. I'd love to read them. Until next time.